Hi everyone. Our goal here today is to prepare a video for all of you on how to make potica. And this is a traditional recipe that we've made in the Spitznagle family for generations. All my aunts, all our relatives that we knew in Minnesota that I met when I was working in Slovenia, everyone made this particular recipe. It's a sweet bread potica and not a regular bread potica. My mom tried both, but always came back to the sweet bread and then stopped making regular bread potica. She really loved this, as did the rest of the family. So there are many breads made by other ethnic groups throughout Central Europe. You go up to Poland, they make a walnut-filled bread. I think they call it potica, something like that. Austria, they do that. To the south, Croatia. But many countries have their own. They look a little bit different in terms of the spiral, the width of the spiral. But what we're going to make here is what we did in our Spitznagle family and the rest of Slovenia. So first thing we're going to do is take our liquids and dry, except for the flour. Flour is going to be in the mixer, the KitchenAid mixer, but we're going to start with a blender with all the other ingredients. First we're going to put the 1.5 cups of lukewarm milk in here. Then 3 beaten eggs. Two ounces of fresh yeast that I've already activated. It's been sitting for about 10 minutes. What I did was kind of crush the cake, of the 2-ounce cake, put a teaspoon of sugar on it, and maybe a tablespoon or 2 of lukewarm milk. And within 10 minutes, it really rises up. So we're going to put this in. We have a 1/2 cup of melted butter. One-half cup of sugar, and 2 teaspoons of salt. Okay, now that everybody's in the pool, we'll turn on the blender, get it ready to mix with the flour. Try and watch it so that we get the color the same throughout the mixture. There's no pieces or the yeast is firmly blended into the mixture. We have 1 more cup of flour. The other 6 cups are already in the mixer. And now we'll turn on the mixer and start slowly pouring in the liquid. Tamp down the sides to help get everything and we'll turn it up. a single arm dough hook in the mixer. I wish I had a mirror up on top. I'm just going to turn it off here a second, get the dough back into the center, and get it off of the hook. Coming along pretty good. We'll do this one more time because we have just a little bit on the bottom that needs to pick up some of the flour. Turn it back on. Okay, the dough is done. It's already pretty well blended, mixed, kneaded, or however you want to say it. In a second here, after we get it off of the dough hook, I'll show you what we have. And there's the dough, and we're going to set this aside and let it raise for a couple hours. After it Okay, this is the part of Potica making where we make the filling, the walnut filling. And we're going to grind the walnuts with our KitchenAid with a brand new metal grinder. We can grind meats with this, make sausage, make hamburgers, and we grind nuts for our Potica. We went to a metal grinder because we had broken 2 of the plastic grinders already. They just didn't last. So it cost a little more money for the metal grinder, but it works pretty well. So we'll start grinding our walnuts, and this usually is the first thing that you're going to do. And there's one step even before this, which we don't have to do because we have walnuts that are already cracked and shelled, and these are really nice and fresh. But when I was real young, we would sit down at the table and help our mom crack walnuts. And that was a pretty lengthy chore. Then you set the walnuts aside, and when you have more time, you make the filling. And then you let the filling sit for a while, and then you go make the bread dough. But we're going to make the filling right now, and we'll show you how we do that. We're going to start up the grinder. Okay, we finished our grinding, and you can see what they look like all ground up. we'll just set that right here. And now what we'll do is we'll start putting together all the liquids. And I'll tell you what they are as I put them in. First is 1 cup of evaporated milk. A 1/4 cup of butter. 3 eggs that are whipped or beaten. And a cup of honey. Now we'll turn the heat up just a little bit. And the thing here that's really critical is you can't just turn the heat up and walk away. Once the heat is turned on, you have to continuously stir it. Now I just remembered we need a 1/2 cup of sugar. And now you have to stir, keep stirring all the way until we get the liquid totally bound together without the eggs cooking first. That's why we have to continuously stir it. And it comes to a boil. As soon as it comes to a boil, we turn the heat down or off. And we add our nuts and the vanilla flavoring. Okay, all right. Okay, so we can see that the liquid is starting to boil up here, and it's been going for 5 minutes. So I'm going to turn the heat down, and this is the point where we put the walnuts, the ground walnuts, into our batter, and then continue stirring. And once we have it all stirred up, I'll add the vanilla flavoring. Boy, and this aroma coming out of here is just terrific. So I'm going to add vanilla flavoring. Just making sure that all the walnuts are stirred into the liquid, and we got a nice filling for our pizza. Okay, hello again. We're back. The dough has risen as far as we can tell. It probably won't go anymore. It's been 2 hours. We have flour that we can put on the table. Our rolling pin is over on the side there. Here we have pans ready so that once it's rolled up and cut, we can put them in the pans. We let them sit and then rise again. We have our filler ready to go. These are the spatulas that we are going to use. They're very good. We've used them already, and they're just plain icing spatulas. So they work very, very good. Okay, we're going to get started here. I'm going to put some flour on the table. Spread it around. Put some on our rolling pin. There. Now I want to position the dough so that we're going to get it going off to the side like that. So stretch it out lengthwise. It's almost just right. At first it looks like it's not going out lengthwise or width, but eventually it gets there. Okay, we now have here in the front the rolled out dough. You generally know when you're finished rolling it out. This is kind of the size that I've seen, that I've got every time I rolled it out. You can kind of tell that the roller just isn't going to get it any flatter, and then it's time to quit. So what we're going to do now is start with the filler, putting it on. Take a large spoon and putting it on. And then we are going to spread it out on the dough. So we're going to start doing that now. It spreads very nicely. And once we have this all laid out again, we'll start back up and show you what it looks like before we start rolling it. So, good. Okay, I guess we're back. We have 1.5 batches of the filler now laid out on the dough. And it looks like it's pretty well spread out. Almost every time we make Potica, it takes 1.5 batches of the filler. We could put it on thinner, but then you don't have Potica that everybody likes with the filling. So now that we finished, I just want to say these are the best things to use to put the filler on the dough. These are cake icers. We have a couple of them, and boy, it goes on so smooth. It really works out well. Okay, now we're going to start rolling. And the thing I like to point out about that is you want to look at your edges, lengthwise edges, because you have to make a decision, where are you going to start? And since this side is the most jagged, and this is pretty much straight, we're going to start at that end and start rolling it toward me. So I'm going to do that right now. Okay, we're going to get going now and rolling this from this end to that end. So we start doing little pinches just to get it going. And after you have that, it goes very quickly, and we'll show you what we mean when we get toward the end. You can see what I'm doing here, the small little pinches, because you want it rolled tight. You don't want to have big air pockets in the loaf once it's cooked. So even doing it this way, it's still going to rise again, because when you have it all rolled up and cut up and put into your baking pans, you have to let it sit for a period of time, maybe 45 minutes, an hour, and it then will rise again. So we're making good progress here. Boy, I can't wait until it's baked and we can taste it. There was just something about the walnuts this time. They were so fresh. Ordinarily, the walnuts, when you crack them, it's like they were in somebody's storeroom for a period of time. But these walnuts were as fresh as if they were just picked off. Okay, we've been starting rolling, and we wanted to pick up again where we left off, just to show you how nice this thing, how easy it is once you get this far to pull that thing over and get nice smooth rolls. Look at this. So you take it all the way to the end, like this, and don't worry about cutting it yet, but you can see there, it's set. Now it's ready to be cut. Okay, we came back again because we're at the point where we are cutting into loaves, and you can tell we have kind of a mixture of pans here. It's the economy of resources that we're using here. So when you look at the whole length, you can tell that some are thicker than others. You want the thicker ones in the bigger pans, or what looks bigger, they're higher. And the smaller area we put in the smaller pans. So now we're gonna take this one and we're gonna measure it, and we're gonna put it in this one right here. So this is how we do that. Perfect. And then this one is going to go in here right like this, like that. And this one, perfect. So you can see that we have two small ends. We're just going to lay that there temporarily, and this one is going to go right in there. So we got 3 loaves in ascending order, a little bit bigger, and that okay, the buzzer just rang, which means they're done. We've been checking them, not often, but a couple times. And boy, they are looking fantastic. Look at that. Boy, they are finished to perfection. What we are going to do is leave them there to cool off. They're actually too hot to take out because they break up a little bit. So we'll let them cool down a little bit, and then we'll pull them out of the pans and let them sit and cool. And then they are going to be ready to wrap up, put in Ziploc bags, put them in some boxes, and then they will be shipped out.